I'm the youngest in my family. I'm the youngest of 9 children. I had 8 brothers and sisters. 6 of them were born in Czechoslovakia. And then in 1935, my parents were deported from Czechoslovakia because my father was Hungarian. And so they moved to Budapest, and that's where the 3 younger ones were born, in Budapest. So 6 were born in Czechoslovakia, 3 were born in Hungary. As far as I know, we are the largest surviving family in the Holocaust, 9 children, mother and father. You're looking at my family picture that was taken in 1944 as the war started, when my father knew things were getting bad over there, and we had to wear yellow stars. I'm the youngest, that's me over there, and you can see my yellow star in my mother's arms. And all my brothers, except this one, he would never wear a yellow star. He killed a Hungarian Nazi when he was 15 years old with his bare hands. And he took his uniform, and he took his badge, and he took his gun, and he walked around dressed as a Nazi most of the time during the war. Well, this brother of mine, we were always very close, him and I. And after the war, he volunteered at the age of 12 to help divide the men and the women and to different sections and bury the dead Jews that were murdered in that temple. I have 3 sisters. This sister over here, she's 8 years and 2 days older than I am. She just passed away a little over a year ago. Her name was Ethel, and she passed away actually me holding on to her and singing songs to her in Yiddish. That's Monsi. She's still alive. She lives in Nahariya, Israel, and she has about 15 great-grandchildren. And the next one to her is Simu, and she has about 16 great-grandchildren. I was gone from home when I was 6 years old because my parents separated us all to different places because of the war. Because he was scared they will try to kill us just to make sure a large family like ours doesn't survive. The Budapest is 2 different cities. There's Budapest on one side, and Buda is across the Danube River, which is on the other side. And there was supposed to be a so-called orphanage on the other side. I went to the orphanage to stay over there. I was with 1 sister, 3 brothers, TB, Bill, and Max. And we were together over there during the war till we were supposed to be non-Jewish children in the orphanage. Christmas Eve day, I know it was still light outside. Because we were hiding out as Gentile children, we were going to have a Christmas party over there for us. So what happened at the Christmas party, all of a sudden we heard noises. I didn't know what it was because I was only 6 years old. What happened is that we locked the door, and all of a sudden we heard shooting. And we didn't know if they were shooting at us or what they were doing. Of course, me being a 6-year-old boy, what do? I try to look out the window to see what's going on. And one of my brothers dived on top of me and pushed me down. And just then bullets went over my head. And that was my brother Max. Everybody was hiding, bending down. Then what happened, about an hour or so later, the shooting stopped, and we heard banging at the door. And when they were speaking a language that none of us understood except one boy. He spoke Russian. And he was about 12 years old, and he started yelling, "These people are speaking, it's Russian soldiers, open the door, it's Russian soldiers." And they opened up the door, and right away Russian soldiers came running inside with machine guns in their hand. And they went all over looking to see if there's any Germans or Hungarian Nyilas. Next day, on Christmas Day, we found out there was another orphanage only 5 kilometers from us. There were 500 children over there. Just before us, they took all 500 children to the Danube River and killed every one of them, and we were going to be next. If the Russians would have been only an hour later, I wouldn't be sitting over here talking to you right now. Because that's what they came. They came to take us to the Danube River and kill us. Oh, there's one word for it. Muzzle. That's the only word. There's no other word for it. Just luck. That's all there is to it. Some were luckier than others were. And my father went and said, I'm going to try to go out of the United States or Canada. So went for a visa for both countries. And he said, whichever one comes first, that's where God wants me to go. Because my father was very religious. One day Canada came, next day United States came. He says, nope, I'm going to Canada. That's where God wants me to go. And God did, because that's where I met my wife. Franny was waiting for me all those years. The day I turned 16, I quit school. And I worked in a factory for a couple of months. And my father sat me down and he said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I said to him, Dad, I'm 16 years old. So my father said, learn a trade, then become a bum. He literally said that to me. If you ever want to quit being a bum, you'll have a trade in your hand. So I went from trade to trade to trade to trade. I went to about maybe 4 different trades. One day I tried electrical, and the first day I got a hell of a shock. And I looked at it and said, I like this. And I've been an electrician ever since. I met my wife twice. I was swimming and I saw this very pretty young girl in a bathing suit. Anyways, and I saw that she didn't know how to swim. So I offered to teach her how to swim, being a young 18-year-old young stud. Okay, so I taught her how to swim. And then I said to her, would you like to go to the dance? Because every Sunday and Wednesday night, I think there was a dance going on over there. But she couldn't go in because she was under 18. But if she had a guy over 18, she could go with him. So she went to the dance looking for me, and I was with another girl. So obviously, I didn't see her again. Then many years later, about 3 years later, one of my friends told me that I got engaged. And I said, congratulations. He said, come on, meet my fiancée. So it took us up to the apartment. We went up to her apartment, and there were 2 very pretty young girls in there. We walked into the bedroom, and the 2 of them got into a fight. And I said, oh boy. And I didn't know what was going on. Well, Fran, the other pretty girl, started mixing into the argument. And I literally walked up to her. This is a true story. I walked up to her. I picked her off the floor. And I said, you are so pretty. It's unbelievable. But what are you doing mixing into other people's argument? You should stay in bed and listen. And I threw her into the bed. And that's how I met her. And she took one look at me. And she went like this. She says, I know you. I said, you do? She said, do you remember by any chance a 14-year-old girl at the Y that you taught them how to swim? And I said, yeah. She says, that was me. That's how I met my wife. I have 2 sons, and I have 2 beautiful daughter-in-laws. My 2 boys, well, the oldest one name is Darren. He was born 1966, November 21st, at 6:31 in the evening, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. And those days you weren't allowed to go in and watch the children being born. So when the doctor came out to tell me that you had a child, I said, I don't want you to tell me if I had a boy or girl. He says, you don't want to know that? I said, no, I want to know 10 finger, 10 toes, 1 nose. And he says, 10 finger, 10 toes, 1 nose, 1 penis. That's how I found out I had a son. Now the second one was born 1970, March 31st. And he was born at 12 o'clock noon, high noon. 2 children I was able to give my attention to, proper attention, which I never had as a child from my parents. And I think I made I tried my best to be a good father. I have now 5 grandchildren, so I would say I'm a blessed man. And I survived so far 2 heart attacks and a bypass and all that. But I don't let anything bother me. I keep smiling, like I am right now. I wake up like this, and go to sleep like this. I am I.